Hi, I'm Mary. This time I want to share with you some very special tools that I got from the grocery store. These are dryer balls. You put them in your dryer with your laundry to keep your laundry fluffy. But I've been using them to fluff my fascia. In recent blog posts I've been talking a lot about doing the right kind of exercise to keep your fascia hydrated and in good condition. But you can also help yourself greatly with some self-massage using tools like this. On a side note, I also got this ball from the pet store. It doesn't work nearly as well. It bounces too much. So these don't really bounce. They're perfect. And I'll show you two things you can do with them to condition the fascia of your feet and your hips for greater freedom when you're walking. It's a good idea to do this standing up. Hold on to a chair or something so you don't have to think about your balance. And you can focus all your attention on the feeling of movement and sensations in your foot as it interacts with the ball. That's what you're really going for, is a changed map, remember, in your brain. It's not just for your fascia. So here you see me having the ball just under the forefoot and rotating my foot towards the center and away from the center. Really engaging my toes, letting the undersides of the toes feel the ball. Here I come up onto my toes and the ball, really getting the undersides of the toes to wake up. Now I'm bringing the ball more towards the middle of the arch, and again supinating and pronating, rolling in, rolling out, trying to get all those little foot bones to become more mobile as the fascia releases. Moving on back into the heel. Be sure the back of the heel gets some attention. And you can also just plant your foot down just in front of the heel. Feel like the heel is just going to drape back over the edge of that ball. You get some nice release in that way. You can do the same thing with just planting your foot, the forefoot, over the ball and just resting your weight. So here I'm bending my knee to apply a little bit more weight into the ball across the forefoot. You're affecting not just your foot, but the whole fascial system along the back line of the body because of the continuity of the fascial fabric. And when you finish and you just stand, the floor will feel different under this foot. My teacher, Dr. Rolfe, used to say that the floor, the carpet, would feel more expensive under that foot. And then if you roll down, just do a slow forward bend, you might be able to feel that fascial loosening on the side where you worked the foot, all the way up your back. For the next part, I'd like to show you where the ball is going to be placed in your hip joint. This is the back of your pelvis and your sit bone, and this is that knob that sticks out on the side of your upper leg. And so the ball is going to go just behind the joint here. There's usually a kind of dimple in the flesh that you can position this into. So let me show you how. Okay, I'm just putting the ball on the back of my hip joint, and I'll just lie down on it. I'm going to start by just rolling so that my weight goes onto and then off of the ball. Just a gentle rocking. My hip is a little bit sore, so I don't want to do anything in a big hurry. And then you could also raise your hips up onto your feet and just roll side to side over the ball with less weight. Remember that there will be fascial tension, lines of fascial tension in ranges of motion that we don't use. So the hip is a ball and socket joint. We rarely use all of that capacity to rotate in all directions. So we need to massage and use the joint in unusual ways. So this is pretty unusual. Another thing you can do is just lift the leg and let the weight of the leg fall back into the joint. That's also a delicious kind of release feeling. And remember, you can move the leg in at different angles. So now I'm turning my leg in, that gets a certain edge of the hip joint, and then if I turn the leg out, that's a whole different feeling. For me, this gives me a kind of delicious, itchy feeling, as if there are really a lot of fluids now flowing through that hip. So it's nice after you do one side to just stop and rest for a minute and take stock of, well, how does that side feel? For me right now, it feels like not just the hip, but the whole leg and even the whole side of my body up to about here is resting more deeply down onto the floor. My right leg feels heavier also. My left leg feels like it is more like hovering above the surface. So this makes me want to do side 2, and I won't do a whole side 2 demonstration, but it's the same thing. You just begin by gently rocking, exploring, experimenting. You don't have to do what I did. You'll find your own way to do this. Once you've finished side 2, take a moment to really just feel both sides. And then you're going to stand up, roll over and stand up. All right, now's your moment. You've really opened up that ball and socket joint in each hip, so you should be able to do some rotary motions in there. Figure 8s and circles and all kinds of things. That's what hip joints were made to do. See, as you shift your weight from side to side, if you can feel the floor in the hip joint. So you imagine the floor coming up through your foot, through your leg, into each hip socket. And now would be a really great time to take a walk, because you've hydrated your feet, you've hydrated your hips. Your walk should have a nice new flow to it. And that's the important part, is really feeling that change in your movement. That's what makes it stick, is you taking the time and attention to really let your brain enjoy the movement. So you'll need to do this often. It's not a quick fix, because all of us spend more time sitting than we do moving around. And we are often in a hurry, and that tightens things up. But this little refresher of your mobility is really worthwhile. So thanks for watching.